Inklings of Splatsville, I'm Crafty Type 1, and Splatoon 3 just had a direct with a bunch of information. But what if I told you the Squid Research Lab is hiding some of it? In their Twitter account and their website, there's a bunch of information the direct did not tell you. So, in this video, I will. Let's first start off with Judd. You're actually able to find him in Splatsville, right next to the testing range. It is said that he's able to tell you tips, and then you're able to test those tips out in the testing range. What this means specifically, we still don't really know about, but we can assume he tells you about a gun, and then the game will prompt you to use that gun and the next time you're in the range. Next, we have a weapon Freshness. The direct told us that you're able to level up your weapon by playing it, and by every Freshness star that you get, you're able to get a Sheldon license. This is true, but did you also know if you have max Freshness on a weapon, you're able to get an ornamental version of it to put in your locker? This final Freshness level is called Master Freshness, and it unlocks an ornamental weapon to put in your locker. Next up, we have save data from Splatoon 2 actually gives you some perks in Splatoon 3. All you have to do for the game to recognize that you have Splatoon 2 save data is start Splatoon 3 with Splatoon 2 save data on it from the same account. What this does is gives you 3 golden Sheldon licenses for main weapons, as well as being able to join anarchy battles from the start and start you off in a higher rank similar to the rank you had in Splatoon 2. This also does affect your matchmaking though. It'll put you with players that also used to have Splatoon 2. So if you want to be against people who also understand Splatoon, be sure to transfer your save data to get some extra licenses to already get your game started immediately. Another thing that they didn't talk about at all was gear star power. What star power does is determine the amount of ability slots on your gear and how fast it gets ability chunks. Star powers 1 through 3 is a normal rate of ability chunks, but for every star you get an ability slot. 4 and 5 increase the speed of which you get ability chunks. To get star power, all you need to do is play with the gear or get a duplicate of the gear. And doing both of those will raise the star power. You can also talk to Merc about raising your star power with Super Sea Snails. I saw this option when watching the direct and I had no idea what it was, and it's glad to know what it is now. Next, we have nicknames for your Splashjack. When you first make your splash tag, you'll be prompted to select a nickname. This is going to default to the name that is on your Nintendo ID, but you're welcome to change it. When making a splash tag nickname, you'll get assigned a random ID. This ID is what we see on the bottom left-hand side of the splash tag that we thought might lead to a Discord-style friend system, but it is just to differentiate yourself from other people with your same nickname. You can change your nickname as many times as you want, but there is going to be a little bit of a wait every time you change your nickname. I don't know how long it is, but it just says a little bit of a wait. Even though X battles have been announced to be coming later in the year, we still have information on how they work. I'll probably go into this in a different video, but in short, you're not able to party up with friends when going into an X rank battle, and they're gonna be region locked. And one interesting thing, in each region, the top 500 players of that season will be honored. I don't know what that means, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna be getting a really cool special badge to put on your splash tag. Next, we have a bunch of new stuff for Salmon Run, like a new office building, which is just basically a testing range. You could do this on your own without going into a job listing, or do this while waiting in the lobby. It's definitely really cool to see that Salmon Run has its own testing range. It has salmon eggs and little hoops that you can actually toss them in to get your aiming down perfect. They added a couple new pay grades after Professional, that being Executive and Executive VP. It's basically the same thing as Professional, except your earning power will be increased and the jobs will be harder. And there is an increase on how high the percentage of difficulty will increase. I think last time it capped at 200, now it caps at 333%. We also have a little more information on the extra wave. If you make it to the extra wave and damage the king salmonoid, you get what's called fish scales. You only get these if you survive the extra wave. though you don't lose anything if you die on the last wave. It's still considered a win if you make it past the first 3 waves and then lose on the last extra wave. But if you make it past the extra wave, you get what's called fish scales, which is used in a Grizzco exclusive shop. There's 3 different rarities of fish scales, and they can be exchanged for different splash tag cosmetics, as well as locker items and clothing. But what I mean by clothing, I mean Grizzco exclusive worker outfits. And you did hear me right. We're actually able to change what our Inkling wears when he's on the job. Basically, by exchanging scales, you're able to get alternate outfits that your Inkling can wear. And the last thing I have found is a new currency called conch shells. These are basically like super sneeze sales, but are more common and can be won during the Splatfest and not afterward. Basically, the more you play during a Splatfest, the more conch shells you get. And you could use these conch shells in this machine called a shell out machine. And you could win different splash tags, gear, and locker items. But that is about everything I was able to find in a very short amount of time. There is still a ton out there, so if you wanted to see a more in-depth guide on what they didn't show, don't forget to let me know in the comment section down below. But if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe for more Splatoon content and like the video if I told you something you didn't know about. Anyways, I'm Crafty Type 1, and I'll see you guys in the Splatlands. Adios.